Imagine a world where the most infamous gangster in American history wasn't just a ruthless criminal, but a key player in a tangled web of power, politics, and paranoia. A web so intricate that its secrets still echo through the streets of Chicago today. This is the saga of Al Capone, a man who dominated the underworld, driven by both survival and relentless ambition. But was Capone truly the mastermind we believe, or merely a pawn in a far more sinister game? To understand Al Capone, you need to understand the world he lived in. A world where the American dream collided with the brutal realities of organized crime. The year is 1899, the turn of a century, and the beginning of a life that would forever alter the history of crime in America. Alphonse Gabriel Capone was born on January 17, 1899 in Brooklyn, New York, to Italian immigrant parents. His father was a barber and his mother a seamstress. They dreamed of a better life for their 9 children. But young Al Capone had other ideas. By his early teens, he was already associating with street gangs, learning the ropes of a world far removed from the one his parents envisioned. It was here that Capone first encountered the harsh realities of life on the streets, a world where strength, cunning, and loyalty were everything. In 1919, at just 20 years old, Capone moved to Chicago, a city that was quickly becoming the epicenter of illegal activities, thanks to Prohibition. The Volstead Act of 1920 had banned the sale of alcohol, creating a lucrative black market that was ripe for exploitation. Enter Johnny Torrio, a mentor to Capone, who invited him to join his organization. Torrio saw potential in the young man, and it wasn't long before Capone became his right-hand man. But Chicago was no ordinary city. It was a battleground ruled by corrupt politicians, ruthless mob bosses, and a police force that was often on the take. In this chaotic environment, Capone thrived. He quickly rose through the ranks, and by 1925, after Torrio was nearly killed in an assassination attempt, Capone took over the Chicago outfit. At just 26 years old, he became the most powerful gangster in the city. Under Capone's leadership, the Chicago outfit expanded its operations, controlling not just the distribution of alcohol but also gambling, prostitution, and other illegal enterprises. Capone's wealth grew exponentially, and with it, his power. By the late 1920s, he was raking in over $100 million a year, a staggering sum for the time. But Capone's reign was not just about money. He ruled with an iron fist, eliminating rivals with brutal efficiency. The most infamous example of this was the St. Valentine's Day massacre in 1929, where 7 members of the rival North Side gang were gunned down in broad daylight. Though Capone was never directly linked to the massacre, it cemented his reputation as a cold-blooded killer, but power has its price. Capone's empire was built on violence and corruption, and it wasn't long before the federal government began to take notice. While local authorities often turned a blind eye, the newly formed Bureau of Prohibition, along with the IRS, began to target Capone. The man who had seemed untouchable was now in the crosshairs of the law. Capone's downfall, however, didn't come from a rival gangster or a dramatic shootout. It came from the most unlikely of places, his taxes. In 1931, Capone was indicted for tax evasion. Despite his immense wealth, he had failed to pay taxes on his illegal income, and the government used this technicality to bring him down. Capone was sentenced to 11 years in federal prison. Capone's time in prison was a far cry from the luxurious life he had led. He was first sent to Atlanta, but after being caught bribing guards, he was transferred to the infamous Alcatraz Island. Here, cut off from his empire and suffering from the effects of syphilis, which had gone untreated for years, Capone's health and mental state deteriorated rapidly. By the time of his release in 1939, Capone was a shadow of his former self. He spent the last years of his life in seclusion at his mansion in Palm Island, Florida, where he died in 1947 at the age of 48. But Capone's story doesn't end with his death. Over the years, countless rumors and conspiracy theories have emerged, suggesting that Capone was involved in everything from secret government deals to hidden treasure troves. Some even believe that Capone's influence reached far beyond Chicago, impacting national politics and law enforcement in ways that are still felt today. And then there's the mystery of the Capone vaults, underground chambers supposedly filled with his ill-gotten gains, hidden away to this day. In 1986, television personality Geraldo Rivera famously opened one such vault on live TV, only to find it empty. But was it the only one? Many believe that other vaults exist, waiting to be discovered. Al Capone was more than just a criminal. He was a symbol of an era defined by excess, violence, and the relentless pursuit of power. But was he the mastermind of his own destiny, or just a player in a game he couldn't control? The truth is buried in the shadows of history, just like the secrets that Al Capone took to his grave. Perhaps someday those secrets will be unearthed, but until then, the legend of Al Capone remains as mysterious as ever.